funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund, which is thank you to Susie and Sylvia as well, who both work for the Heritage Lottery Fund, and have come tonight as also as local residents as well. So, sort of 3 years ago, we sat down, the three of us, and went, oh, what shall we do? We've got nothing to do with our time. And we thought it'd be really good to do something that celebrates the Great War and celebrates our local community. So over the last 3 years, we have done a lot of research. We've largely by volunteers as well. I can't remember how many volunteers we've actually got involved doing the research. Discovering the stories that I think quite a lot of you found out about through the poppy plaques list, which I'm gently wafting to stop myself getting too hot. But much of the material that we found has been a mixture of the internet, but also the Cambridge collection at the Central Library, which hopefully many of you are aware of as a place for research. So what we've done is, as I say, this is the final exhibition, the one behind you, of 3 exhibitions. So over the last 3 years, there's been a new exhibition every year to celebrate Armistice Day. We've had these events every year for the last 3 years, basically. As also part of the project, we trained 7 volunteers to record oral histories. And as a result, we have got 5 people's stories of their families, stories of First World War, including Janet, who's very kindly come tonight as well, who had told her story of her father, who didn't live in Cambridge, but she's very much part of the local community, and had told us her story. And you can actually see all about Janet's story in the case at the back. Sorry, go on.
Janet's mother was also a nurse.
Oh yes, of course, yes. So her dad, Janet's father, made maps, and you can see the type of maps he made at the back there. And Janet found the paints themselves that he used, and she's brought them along tonight and put them in the case tonight as well. And her mother was a nurse as well. So that is one of the 5 oral histories that we've recorded, and last year that was the main part of the exhibition. The oral histories were also turned into a podcast by Lee Chambers, who created a radio programme, 2 radio programmes for Cambridge 105, and you can still hear it. The podcast, which is it's a wonderful recording, is on the Friends of Rock Road's website as well as Cambridge 105 website. And also as a result of that, Lee is now our writer in residence as well. So there's lots of side things that come out of this. We also had a lovely week with Kay Blaney. Sorry, I've got a list here, and if I don't get them all right, I'll get told off that you missed one. We had a lovely week with Kay Blaney with the Year 6s at Morley Memorial School in June of this year, where we used the oral histories, we used some of the research and did a drama workshop where we worked with the children to recreate scenes from the First World War. It was a lovely week, we really enjoyed ourselves. Is this the point to mention Kay Blaney? Yes, good. Yeah, that's a good one. There's also, Kay has created these monologues of Mill Road about World War I, which are available to buy.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
It's just been reprinted. So you can browse these copies, but they are available to buy, and I can take the details and pass them on to Kay if you would like, if you're interested. And these are all characters from Mill Road, though, and they're not local.
They're not local. But it's
Kay has turned them into scripts and performed them in Mill Road Cemetery and all sorts of things, so they are really beautiful. I think she may have used some as well at St John's Remembrance Service last year.
She did, didn't she? Okay, and then, so that's one part, and then Veronica Thornton, is Veronica here? Yes. Has created craft workshops, and starting off with this fabulous blanket that you can see, with a group of people locally about, they're all embroideries and about some of the people who lived in this area. So she's done that, but she's also used it as a starting point for other craft workshops as well. The last one was about sense of place, wasn't it? And I think you're doing one again this year, aren't you? And is it open for people to come to if they want to?
Yes, we're just creating something for the children's library this time. So nothing to do with war.
Excellent. But presumably if people want to take part, they can come and talk to Veronica about participating in her workshops. Roger Lilly, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, has just been amazing. Without Roger, we would be nowhere. But he's the one that's responsible for the majority of the research that you can see. He's done a huge amount of research. He does a lot of work for St John's Church, and he's just been completely wonderful. And also we have hosted the exhibition from the Quakers from the Friends Meeting House down on Hartington Grove, which was here in the summer as well. We've also hosted talks by Mike Petty, who's the local historian, which has been the last two of these events was by Mike, and they were wonderful events where he's a great raconteur. If you ever get a chance to hear him talk, it's really worth it. And then the last few weeks, sorry, I'm wafting it because it is hot in here. But the last week or so, hopefully, you should have received, some of you will have received a poppy plaque. Can I see hands of who has received a poppy plaque? Excellent. Can I ask another question? Can those who received the poppy plaque who hadn't been to the library before and didn't know about this project before, could you put your hands up? Yeah. See, it works. So the idea of the poppy plaques, there are 215 that have been distributed, and it was based on the research that was done up until we started printing them in June, wasn't it? And he's done more, Roger's done more research since, so it's still something that could grow. But we've printed and distributed 215 of these poppy plaques in the community, and I went for a walk tonight, and you can see them, and I'm really pleased that people have taken it to heart and put them up in their windows. It does look quite stunning. Cowper Road. Is anybody here from Cowper Road? Yeah. Cowper Road looks great.
Marshall Road.
And Marshall Road's looking good. Yeah, I haven't been there much. I'll have to go up there tomorrow. So thank you everybody for putting them up.
And there's also the photography project as well, I think.
Oh yes.
A local photographer.
Yes, a local photographer at 11 o'clock this morning took 11 photos of 11 houses with the poppy plaques, and that is also up on Facebook as well today as well. So it's sort of inspiring people, hopefully. Then not quite finally, but nearly. Finally, there's this newspaper. I don't know whether all of you have got a copy. There are lots more copies up there. The newspaper was again written by Lee Chambers, and the idea is it's a 1916 style paper. So I should tell you, they are fictionalised stories based on fact. And then inside, if you haven't seen it, you've got all this research. You've got all the names of everyone that we've found out about so far, and an overview of the project itself. So do take one home and have a read and have a look. So the three of us, myself, Sarah and Martin, would like to thank everyone who's helped us deliver this incredibly ambitious project. 3 years ago it was just this would be a nice idea. And since then it's had quite a big impact. Some of the oral historians are now part of the Friends of Rock Road. It's grown and changed and has made quite a big difference. Roger Lilly has been tireless in the research that he's done. I can't actually emphasise enough times how wonderful Roger has been, and it is such a pity that he's not here today. I also want to say thank you to Lee Chambers, who again couldn't make it tonight, but also Sarah Baylis, who is there, who's I'm about to hand over to, who researched and curated the exhibition this year. And not forgetting the committee members, without whom you lot wouldn't be here. It's the committee of the Friends of Rock Road that have helped turn this whole library into somewhere that's really quite dynamic and exciting to be in. And everybody is part of a team here, and it works incredibly well. And before I hand over to Sarah, I just wanted to make one last thing. I wanted to point out that this isn't a history project. Although this is about our history, it's about bringing people together to think about how the past can shape our future. We're talking about people who developed new techniques in hospitals, people who took Belgian refugees into their homes. There is a lot that we can learn for our future based on this past. So this project has been about bringing the community together so that we can understand ourselves and our past. And it's really important that you see it within that context. It's not just about dead people. It is about people who lived in our houses and why our community is the way it is today. So, I will now like to hand over to Sarah, who's going to introduce her film and introduce the final exhibition.
I just want to start with a show of hands. How many people here knew there was a huge World War I military hospital right in the middle of Cambridge, on the site of the current university library? How many people knew that originally? No, not Anne Brooks. Can you keep your hands up? Sorry.
How
So
do you mean
you
originally?
already knew. I meant before the centenary of World War I, for instance. Did you grow up knowing it? So quite a few. Because I've been surprised when I was doing my research for the film, reading around, I've been surprised how few people, even people who were born in Cambridge and lived here all their life, actually knew that. And one of the questions I've been pursuing at the back of my research, if you like, when I was making my film was, how come it had been forgotten? So I'm interested in that interplay between remembering and forgetting, why we remember, why we forget. And of course the First Eastern General, that was the name of the hospital, and that's the focus for the film that you're about to see. The First Eastern General was not the only hospital in Cambridge that was involved with the war. It was just at the centre of a network of medical institutions that were working together throughout the years of the war and beyond the war to look after thousands and thousands of casualties. And I think this is another point to stress that the hospital, particularly the First Eastern General, was not treating men in order to return them to their home. It was treating them in order to return them to the front. It was a war machine, and we must never forget that. And the convalescent hospitals that sprang up around Cambridge were likewise all working for that end. It was all about getting men back into fighting for. So I don't want to talk very much now. I would much rather you watch the film and then at the end we can have a discussion. But I just wanted to point out, you probably noticed that myself and some other people here are wearing white poppies, not red ones, and I would like at the end to talk a little bit about the peace poppy. This is known as the peace poppy. And just to bring attention to the fact on this table here, there's some information about the Peace Pledge Union, who started producing the poppies in the 1930s. But I'm going to stop there and we'll watch the film, and then hopefully we can have some questions and